Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome on the first session of the Tekla workshop this year. Today, my guest is Oskar. Hello, Oskar. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chris. Thank you.
Nice to have you here. We are a little bit earlier than usually. Usually, we have at 2 p.m. Central European time, but because Oskar lives in Melbourne. Am I correct?
Not quite. You're a few hundred kilometers away.
Oh, really? So
Brisbane,
where are you based?
north of Brisbane.
Brisbane. Oh, sorry, Brisbane. So what time do you have right now?
It is 8 o'clock almost in the
8 o'clock
evening.
at the evening. So thanks again for accepting this invitation or taking after your work. So you are almost finishing your work day, but cool that you are going to share some cool stuff today. Please let us know if you can hear us well. So we will start in just 3-4 minutes. Hello, Mario. Love this time of the webinar, Perth, Australia, Mario. So maybe we're going to make it often. We maybe people from America will not be so happy with that time, but for sure Tobia's video and audio is perfect. We have first question, can I watch session later because I got a work day and I'm unable to attend it right now. We are going to share this recording and also Grasshopper file and presentation. You have to just register your email. I'm going to share all the info. Okay, Oskar. So today's topic, we are going to talk about prefabrication elements. And yeah, I just checked in your portfolio that everything what you did in your life was about prefabrication and Tekla. So it's I think so when we decided with the topic, so it was obvious one. So you started as a steel assembly company. It was on the contractor side.
Yeah,
As your
exactly.
first
I
work.
was, pretty much as a structural engineer in a consultancy firm in Sweden. So that's where my IKEA accent's from.
Yeah, and then structure engineer on Integra.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's where I started.
So from
And
the
that's what.
construction side to the office, and then to Tekla reseller.
Well, yeah. So I started using Tekla in like 2006. So back in the day when Tekla was looked quite different to what it does now. So yeah, and then moved over to Australia in 2010. Just trying something new, I guess. And then starting on the other side of the fence and selling and supporting the software. So I've been a user and I've been supporting the software for quite a long time as well. And then in 2019, I jumped onto starting my own company and mainly doing customization work for Tekla. But that turned out to be more of a Grasshopper thing these days, probably 95% Grasshopper. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much
So
where
you
I
are
am at the moment.
perfect. You are perfect guest. So experience from the construction side, experience from the designing office, experience from the support for Tekla and Tekla resellers, and now having own company and working with Grasshopper. So yeah, this is a perfect portfolio for being a guest on the Tekla workshop and learn Grasshopper. So thanks again for being with me today. Okay. We have people already. We have Victor. Hello, Victor. I have a question. Is there where we address them? Yeah. So all the questions, please write in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn. So please address questions, and we will be happy to answer. Okay. We have 11 already. At my clock, so let's start with our session. I will just just see. So we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you are watching on one of these platforms, just do not remember to leave a like, write a comment that you are with us. I'm really happy to say hello to all of you. Hello, Jan. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Salt. Nice to have you on board. So we have already 100 people. So that's really good. So let's move on. So today's session will be 1.5 hour. We'll see. We decided that it will be about 1 hour of content, and will be a Q&A session afterwards. And recording, there was already some questions, will be available for all registered. So link will be sent to register a user with the recording, and we are going to also share PDF and Grasshopper. So learngrasshopper.com/Tekla prefab. You can also scan this code to get all recordings. Oskar is really kind, and he's going to share one of the scripts that he is going to present. So to be honest, I don't know which one. So really looking forward to see it as well. And as Bimera asked, if you have any questions, so please put them here. We talked with Oskar before we started this live session that we are not the biggest fan of just talking to ourselves on the webinars. So they are so slow. There is no interaction, and we like this conversation questions. So please ask as many questions as you would like. Please ask questions related to Tekla and Grasshopper. Maybe if you have any question, how is life going in Australia, and how to be owner of your own consulting company. So maybe we'll answer them, but at the end. So let's please focus on Tekla side. Okay, so benefits for joining today's workshop. So first, Oskar is going to show really cool examples, case studies from the international projects that are focusing on the prefabrication. So there will be lots of stairs, prefabrication plates, columns, all of the things that you can do in Tekla. And as I said before, we are also going to share some example of script automation. So in 2024, maybe some of you have been already, I see many names that been attending previous sessions. So we had this series of Tekla workshop in 2024. It was 6 workshops. They are still available for those who missed them. So really interesting topics. We started with how to start with Grasshopper and Tekla Live Link. Then we have the workshop about automating reinforcement. Next, we had the session with Tautovides about using a component. A really cool session, how to use not Grasshopper Live Link, but Tekla component with Rhino Insight technology. We have Greg, creator of Grasshopper Tekla drawing link. So for those who were not aware that you can automate drawings with Grasshopper from 2024, you can do that. So really cool session. Then we have 2 sessions more about focusing on building projects with the case studies and examples. And the last session in 2024 with Andre Janota was about bridge design. So all these sessions are available. I'm going to share this PDF so you can access to watch them and get all the information. For those who are seeing me for the first time, my name is Chris Wojslaw. I'm an online educator. My aim is to transform engineers' work into fun with use of programming. So that's why I'm teaching programming, mostly Grasshopper, but we have also trainings for Python and C#, so everything that can be used for work automation. And today session we will focus on prefab. So Oskar Scherdin will be my guest as we discuss on the at the start. We are having this session a little bit earlier because Oskar is based in Brisbane in Australia. So thanks again, Oskar, for accepting this invitation. I'm really looking forward to see all the work that you are doing at your own company. So thanks for accepting this invitation.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Pleasure is all mine.
We can switch to your presentation. So let's introduce to today's topic.
Yeah, I guess today is going to be very focused on Tekla Structures, because that's sort of my skill set, and that's where most of my projects are centered around, and then how we can automate things around Tekla with the help of Grasshopper and Rhino, and what benefits we can get out of that, and some examples around projects, what I've done in the past, and also just some discussion examples on how we can utilize Grasshopper to visualize things in the model, and so on. Yeah, so that's sort of my idea, at least. But we're going to start with just explaining most of the things that I do for my clients is not Rhino through the Rhino interface. So my clients never open up Rhino pretty much. They always run Rhino inside. So for them, they're using Tekla, and they press a green button that says Grasshopper, and then they can load up scripts that I've done in the background. So what does that mean? Like, it's just running a Grasshopper script in the background. That's all it is. And for them, it looks like a Tekla component, which is quite beneficial. So you don't need any Grasshopper skills or be afraid of, oh, what's this Grasshopper stuff? I don't understand what's new. But if you know Tekla, then you can run Grasshopper scripts, not a problem.
Yeah, and you don't see that it's a Grasshopper script, right? So it's not that big difference between C# like components and Grasshopper components. Maybe I will start with the first question. Do you see any, like, the biggest difference between using C# like component and the Grasshopper components? Do you, at your work, had some limitation what you could achieve with C# and not Grasshopper?
I don't think there's a limitation as such, because there might be in some like rare cases, but the limit, you can always add some special C# code onto your script to like make up for some missing functionality within the Grasshopper toolset that Tekla is providing. But the main benefit is that you don't have to be a software provider. Like, you don't have to maintain everything. Like, the script's going to work in all different versions of Tekla, instead of having to, recompile everything for a new release and, all that jazz. So you sort of bypass that and let each software and software supplier be what they're good at, to be a software provider. And we can do all these tools instead, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's easier to find a Grasshopper developer nowadays than C# developer.
I feel like it. Yeah, but there's still a great need for them. So, and then another great thing is that, all these other companies are also developing their own links. So it's so much easier these days to link in, say, Tekla Structures with like an analysis and design application, like what I have here, Fem Design, ID Aesthetica, or Tekla Zone, or Trimble Zone Structural Designer, or some other external softwares like ArchiCAD or Revit or whatever it might be. You can link in Excel files, CNC files, DWG files, you name it, like whatever format is out there. If we can read it with a Grasshopper interface instead, you don't have that human interaction, the human error in there. But yeah. So I have an example here of traditional workflow in a very like modern world where we have no time to produce anything. Like, we get the files from our clients, and the projects are due to be finished yesterday. So maybe we get some digital files from our clients, and then we produce some sort of analysis model, and then you and me, Chris, we have a coffee break together, and then you sketch on a napkin. Like, I have this idea, maybe we can figure out this connection that will work here, and then I'll take that connection, I'll go and model it in Tekla, and it all sort of builds to a deck of house of cards, and then when we get a revision, it all sort of falls apart. That's what I'm trying to symbolize with all these crazy arrows going back and forth here.
Yeah, but
So
every time when I see workflows on LinkedIn, and everybody forgets about coffee, this is the first time I see coffee on the workflow graph. It's a good one, because it's a real one.
They're very important. You meet up with at the coffee break and you discuss some very important things. But yeah, it sort of it might work if you don't. This workflow might work if you don't get any revisions, but as soon as you get revision, it all falls to pieces. You don't know which file to use, and what's the latest? Is it the file that's called old, new, latest 5, or is it the other one? So that's the sort of the problem with all of this. So in an ideal world, I guess, then we have a digital workflow where files are being interpreted by programs instead and fed. So if the architect updates their DWD file, we can just press a button and then we rerun our analysis, and then we can feed that back into here, and then we can see if it changes anything in our structural model and so on and so forth. So big difference between writing on a piece of napkin and then having everything flow seamlessly in a perfect world. Like, I understand that it's hard to automate everything, but automate as much as we can, I guess. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to paint a picture of what's happening in the real world and what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, like it totally makes sense to put that like software to take all this data instead of humans, and especially with all the revisions and so on.
And all the data entry, like repetition, you have to like sit there and look up in like a standard table, maybe look in the results from a calculation in a PDF, and it's just made for errors. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. I have a bit of a live demo, see how that goes in the we always know how live demos work in live presentations, so we'll see how we go. But I just wanted to highlight a few things. If you are new to Tekla Grasshopper, but Sebastian Trimble is keeping pushing out a lot of updates. So these are fairly new sort of tools in the last 6 months, I'd say, maybe a bit longer. But they can be great to visualize things in the model for us. So I'm gonna see how we can show some of that in a live demonstration. So I'm just gonna stop sharing that, and I'm gonna start sharing my Tekla screen.
We are going to show how Tekla and Grasshopper are reliable on the live demos. So I think we'll be good.
Let me know if you can see what's going on.
We can see. Yeah, we can see your Tekla.
Very basic model, as you can see. So as I was saying before, this is the interface I have to operate with in Tekla. So I don't see the Grasshopper script. I just see this dialog box and some pretty pictures. If you need help, you can click on learngrasshopper.com as well. But I'm just going to load up the HoloCore one here. And I'm going to select that, apply, and same as any other component, I'm just going to add that to that component. So I get a warning message pop up saying that, you have cut this HoloCore slab in the wrong zone. You're outside the cutting zones. So traditionally, you have like 1,000 HoloCores, and you have to check them manually that you have cut everything in the right position. So what can we do to aid that? So instead of having your standard PDF where you check your cutting zones where you're allowed to cut, we can just take that PDF and embed it into the tool. And if you're outside, it just pops up in your face. So it displays straight away. So I don't really, as the user, I don't really need to know exactly. I can see where these zones are allowed. So I'm just gonna take this and move it 50 mil that way, and then I'm just gonna hit modify on this one to see what happens. So my warning bubble is gone. That was just I like to place some sort of visual thing on the object in the model to say, okay, something is wrong. You should look at this. So
yeah, and I think that I'm really happy that you started with this example, because like all users, when they're thinking about Grasshopper and Tekla, they are thinking about like just pure 3D modeling. But if you are starting with this quality assurance tool, and this is like the best thing that what we can do with Grasshopper, and like maybe showing that on one hollow core slab doesn't make big sense. But if you are thinking about like thousands, where if you are modeling, so it's like huge help to check this out.
Yeah, I could apply this to a whole floor of hollow core slabs, and then just have the tool check all of them, and then I just attend to those. If I see any bubbles, I just go and check them. I can make Tekla change. I can make Grasshopper change the color of them, for example, as well. What we also notice is that I've added some dimensions, so you can see the dimensions of the slab, and it's printing the intact cores. So not core number 3, 4, and 5 are still intact. What we also see is it's adding some lifters. And with this, we could run some calculation in the background as well. So we can have it go to just a standard lookup table in Excel, or it could connect to a third-party analysis tool. But for simple things like this, we might already have like a load combination, and we know what sort of situation this is in. So it can then pre-select the correct lifters for us and place them according to our company design. And as a consultant, you might have, one precast company that does it one way, and then a different client that is a different precast company that does it a different way, obviously. So never do it the same way. So this tool could handle both of them. So you can have one setup for 2 or 3, 4, 5 clients. So it's just trying to make it streamline everything, not having 10 different tools to maintain. That's the idea behind this as well. And as you can see here, can you see that? Yeah, if I highlight, I've also highlighted the cutaway area. So you can see if you have, this makes more sense if you have more slabs next to each other. You can see how much we've cut away. Might be useful for some people as well.
Can you also show for people who are first time seeing like Grasshopper a component, where is this spaghetti monster? Is it like user cannot see it, and where is hidden?
We can press that little pen here, and it actually pops up. It pops up on my other screen. Let's see if I need to. I didn't share the whole screen, so I'm going to stop. Present. Share screen. I'm just going to share the entire screen. That will be easier, like this. Let me know if you can see that, Chris. Yeah, so we can see it. Yeah, the spaghetti is not too bad, but it's sitting in there. So it says if this one is a very small script, but just for this exercise, it's easy to demonstrate. So you still have your spaghetti. It's always there. You can have it. It's not too bad.
Thanks for putting Learn Grasshopper logo on that.
Yeah. I figured you like that. Yeah, and then the tool also tells you, everything is okay, good job. So you get some positive reinforcement there as well. So
like we have one question, like just before going with the Victor, because I think this is a really good question. How do clients deal with the fact that they need to purchase Rhino as well, and probably Rhino license for every single member team employed Tekla user? Because we have to explain that if you are using this Tekla Grasshopper component, you have you need Rhino on your computer. So what is the attitude of your clients?
I think, that is a thing that we need to be upfront and tell people as well. But cost-wise, it's probably a tenth of what Tekla costs, so it's not a big thing, to be honest. And there's no yearly maintenance on it either. So there's always
and it's
that.
A lifetime license, right, for Rhino?
Yes, correct. You only pay if you want to upgrade in the future, pretty much. But compare that to having building an API tool where you access the Tekla API straight away, but then you also need to maintain that, how much that's cost. So this has definitely its benefits. You compared to just making your own API tool straight out of the box as well. So I'm just gonna jump back to there are some other things. I might come back to this holocore slab later. I'm just gonna jump onto
Greg is together with us, and he wrote that fantastic use case. Absolutely love it. After 18 minutes, I have already got something value. Thanks you, Oskar.
Thanks, Greg. All right, so we're gonna jump into this. Another live demo. But before we jump in, I just want to explain what it is. So it's like a quality assurance things for a wall in this case. It doesn't need to be a wall, it can be anything. But what it does is it's checking and coloring the model for us. So again, going back to these components here, coloring and adding text to the model. I like, like you left, so right brain does the color and the other one's logic. I don't know which one's which, but we can use this to apply color just for quality assurance. We can apply UDAs for better drawing representation. So if we have a cut in our model, but usually you make the cut double the size or bigger than what actually is being cut out, because Tekla, if you know, you know. And then, but we're not interested in how big the cut is. We're interested in how big the cutout is. So this tool actually calculates how much volume is being extracted. And it also looks at which side is it on. Is it on the near side or far side of the form? So we can check that, and that's in relation to the form face, which side you have picked as your top in form face in Tekla model. So we can do that, and we can also check all the cast-in items and see where they're situated, and we get a nice sort of colorization of them in the model. So I'm just gonna stop sharing it again. I'm gonna jump back to my Tekla model. So share this. Let me know what you can see. Very intense Tekla model here. So we have three wall panels on top of each other. If we make it transparent, you can see that we have, I'm just gonna turn that off. You can see that we have some lifters, we have some ferrules and some rebates. We have a door, like an opening. And on the one above, I've just flipped some of the things around. And on this one, if we check it, I've done, we'll just one step at a time, I guess. So I'm just gonna load this one. So I go and load a different script. You can basically just browse to it here, but I'll just set a preload.
And it can be placed. Is it placed locally on your computer, or are you also using some tricks to make it on the OneDrive or Google Drive or any?
This
any
one
servers?
is on my OneDrive. This one's on my OneDrive, but usually I don't have too much experience with running it in the cloud, other than OneDrive, which is sort of locally anyway. But there's not been that much need for that, I've found. So maybe you have some other experience on that.
No, just giving tips for like every people. Like you can just share it on the cloud, so people from company can use the same script, like saved on the environmental, like company environmental.
Yeah. So I have some inputs here, just like which clause of the cut is going to be included. So I can include certain clauses of the cuts, just general stuff. Same on the costing items, and then which UDAs do I want to write these things to? And then obviously I have your logo here as well. Why not? So if we apply that and just press it, and then you can see what it did for me now. Like it just colorized the model. So it made my panel see-through. And this is all just temporary text, and the colorization, it didn't change the class or anything. It just like if I redraw, that disappears. But we can have a closer look. So we can see everything that's blue, it's modeled in the center. So I can confirm, okay, I've modeled that correctly. I don't even need to zoom in. I can be like out here and see straight away that I've modeled them in the center. I can see that these ones are recessed 30 millimeter from the surface. I can see, and I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. And they're also on the near side because they're green or near face. You can see that this rebate is 2000 by 200 by 30. So this is what I mentioned before. Like it's really 60 deep, but the recess is 30. So that's what's going to be written onto the object in the model. And if we check,
this is what you meant, like why Tekla is making bigger cuts.
Yeah, exactly. So we just make them a bit bigger because we don't want solid errors. So we can see that these ones are being populated in here, near side and all these stuff. So all my UDAs are being populated onto the object, the cut in this instance. We can see it identified as a hole, and it has a diameter. So it handles a round one different to this one. This one just gets the diameter. This one gets the whole dimensions of it. Same here. So red text means it's far side or down in the form. So we can do all these fancy things to compare two walls to each other. And it's pretty obvious here what's difference between these two. Like, oh, this is on the other side. Should it? Maybe it should. But it just utilizes like colors and text in the model to visualize like very clearly what's going on.
Yeah, I really like it because we are engineers. We really used to all the patterns, colors, and sometimes it's easier to just spot it. Like you can see it. Okay, everything in center. I can go forward. One question, like more technically into Grasshopper script, how you change the wall into transparent?
So
because I can because it's not just a change of the color. It's more.
If we check on the script, it's just this little guy here.
Okay. So if you change the swatch as a transparent, okay.
Yeah, it's just that one, okay. Display color under Tekla. This one here.
Yeah, but you have to change in the swatch. You have to change into transparency.
Yes, down here.
Yes. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, that's a good one. I always just made it 100%. So yeah, so it's cool that it's working also with color. Tekla. Yeah. No, I never tried like transparency, but it's also giving like here also the idea what is inside already. So good to know that it's working properly.
And this is just like a simple example. We could be checking all sorts of things, like if a wall opening is too close to the side, like do we have enough like thickness to support it? We can check. We can check everything pretty much. Like it could look around it. If is there a steel beam coming in here? Maybe yes, no. We can be very pretty smart with all of this. But if I now redraw, so these are all temporary objects, redraw, it goes back to your normal one. The object, like the component is still there, the UDA is still there. So if you change something, you could just rerun that component and it'll update your UDAs, your drawing will look better, and so on and so forth as well.
And it's not that heavy. All this display and colors and dimensions, they are really light. So even if you would like to make it for the whole building, it will not for sure it will not crash your Tekla, because this is really take really small amount of memory.
Yeah, it doesn't even, like, it doesn't create anything in Tekla. It just changes the state in the display at that moment. It's the same as using representation filters, I guess. Like
Mario asked if you rotate the view, the colors change. I don't think so. We can test. You can test it.
Mario. I'm just gonna turn on components so I can see. They're 3D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the color remains the same, and they are also rotating. This is also one of the cool features, that they are rotating when you are rotating, so always you can see and read it through.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all built into the Tekla core, I guess. You could dimension everything up as well if you wanted to add dimensions, same as we did with the HoloCore. When I reran this, I added the thickness and the width of that. I could dimension things like distance to objects, or just like the openings itself. So you get if something looks weird between the two, there's a millimeter difference there. Instead of finding that out in the drawings when you've done the numbering, you might as well find it out straight away. So a lot of
Victor
visual
also
QA.
Victor also had a comment that the wonderful of Grasshopper Live Link and Drawing Links, that we can annotate Boolean parts, all the cuts, which is impossible in Tekla with native functionality.
Yes, but you can annotate cuts in Tekla still. So it's no different doing it manually, I guess. I could just add properties to this one, or add UDAs. But yeah, we have easier accessibility this way for sure. That's correct, Victor. All right. Any more questions, or should I jump to the next?
Yeah, just one comment. Willie just said that the nice bike behind you.
It looks blurry and fast.
Blurry and fast. We keep finger crossed for Oskar. He's doing his first triathlon this year, so yeah, good luck on that.
Thank you. Goal is to stay alive.
That's a good. We have some more questions, but maybe it's more about another things, not related. So we will jump to other question in the Q&A session. So I will try to answer the question that are related to the topics that you are covering. Okay, so we can see your presentation.
So I will pass this script on as a gift to your viewers as well, Chris. Even though it's not the most, it probably doesn't work in every situation. It will give you a good idea of what you can do and how you can do it. And there's always better ways to optimize the script. So don't be too harsh on me.
Yeah. So everyone who registered for this workshop through the link, you can also get this link at the beginning of this workshop. So we'll get and you said that it will also work with plates, for example, or it will not, or the logic is just for vertical panels, beams, and columns.
It probably works with beams and columns as well. 2-point insert objects, I guess.
Yeah, but it's the best is to you can get idea how it's made, and you can make your own changes based on the example.
I make no claims that it's going to work in every situation for every project. It's more like this is an idea of what you could build, and this could be built to work in a lot of situations as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
all right.
Let's go to the next one.
Yep. So I have a client example here. A consultancy company in Sweden who does a lot of electrical conduits and stuff in precast walls, which is pretty common up in the Nordic countries as well, at least.
I made this. I made this at my work and Kostolis. It was nightmare. Like it was in the DVG. Oh, crazy! It was 10 years ago. I just see it right now, and all my nightmares came true.
Yeah, I've done the same thing many years ago as well. Yeah, so usually or traditionally, the electrical engineer or whoever's doing the electrical stuff is providing you with a schematics in 2D DWG. So first you get a long row of all the electrical connections, I guess. And they look like this. They just have some dimensions and they're positioned according to the floor level on each level, and they each have like a number. And then you get a plan for each level, which also have like a bubble with a number which correlates to this.
And of course, electrical engineer do not work in 3D. It works only into 2D plans.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why it stopped sharing. 1 second. All right, I'm back. Everything just went black. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we have those two inputs from external partner, and we want to be able to do this in Tekla. So instead of manually, like what Chris described, pulling your hair out and doing it all manually, it's so easy to make mistakes, and it's just nightmare. So what we built for them is a script that reads this file, that file, and we have a Excel file which basically is a description of which layers to look at in here and what items to place for a specific name of blocks and what have you. It just pairs everything together. So users can edit the Excel file, and then you press something in a point in the model. You refer to, I want to use this DWG and this one, and you place it in the model. It looks at all the walls on that level, and it just pushes all the electrical conduits in at the same time on each wall. It looks at near face, far face, depending on how thick your wall is. It aligns everything. It adds cuts and cutouts as well, and it tags everything with a near side, far side, same as we had in our example on the wall there before. So huge time savings and also good, like accurate. It's.
I can imagine that decreasing the number of errors done is really, really limited, only for the maybe error from the electrical engineer who is doing all this 2D representation.
Yeah, I think the electrical people have some sort of 3D, but they dumb down the output and give it to us in a flat 2D format. But I don't know. Yeah, so that's a brilliant example of pulling in data from external sources, so DWG and Excel, and then combining that into an automatic process that produces a 3D model in Tekla. Oh, and a data-rich 3D model as well, because it has everything, all the attributes you want that being read from Excel.
Yeah, and especially like if you can define, like if you defined properly all the layers in the DWG and Excel information about properties, materials, all the stuff that can be used for assembly, maybe from BIM models, it gives a huge advantage, especially with the quality assurance as well. After, if you have everything modeled, then you can just check with the script if everything is okay after some remodeling. And yeah, it's a really crazy good example how Grasshopper can be used.
Yeah, for sure.
So your work was to case study to make the script, and the script is used right now by the client.
By my client, yeah, Vilcon.
By the client, yeah. So people, they have to know, like Grasshopper, what is the required Grasshopper knowledge in this case to reuse the script that you created?
Pretty much, like I have a Rhino Inside interface there as well, so they just have to have it installed on their computer. I guess make sure everything's up to date as well, but otherwise, yeah, it's just pretty much as simple as we showed before. And then I have another client example, which is an old employer of mine as well. But they have a division which does all the precast stairs in Sweden, Strängbetong. And they've gone pretty much all out on automating everything in Grasshopper for their Tekla models. So the input data comes from the engineer or from the user. We specify it's all in Swedish. I will translate a bit. But like load combination, exposure class, fire rating. You can point to a specific file if there's something special conditions. We can do that as well. But essentially, we take all of these information and we stuff it into the 3D model, and we save all the data into that 3D model as well. So not only do you save a lot of time from modeling it, but you also get all the data stored on that object in the model. I'll show some examples. And this is a pretty neat thing. I'm not sure if you used it this way before, Chris, but you know, when you apply a normal component in Tekla, you have to press, like, okay, so let's say I have a steel connection. I want to connect my 3 beams to this column. I need to press all of them. But here we can just place like a slab, and it looks around in the model using the pipeline, and we can then determine on, okay, we know that that's a stair coming from below. It has 11 steps. It weighs this much. So we know how much, and we know what end condition that stairs has as well, because you can see like we have different sort of ending types. So, and then it can adapt to that without having us, fill all that information in. Same with, if we go back to our hollow core slab, we could then just attach the lifters and check for all those conditions. We can also check how much is this hollow core sitting up on each side of that beam in that model. Like, is that sufficient for this size hollow core? So you can check all of this, these things in the background. So it's aware of its surroundings, or you can make it aware of its surroundings without having to click.
And you don't, click on the model and just specify, so you can you can just automatically find all the objects. I use it all the time for also all exercises and all the projects. There's one thing that maybe supposed to be changed in this object pipeline is the filter. The one thing that I'm not liking that much, that you have to define all these filters through Tekla. It will be cool to just type it like in some of the way, maybe make this filter inside Grasshopper, and just really, because for now, for the filter, like exactly type of beam with the class, with the shape, and so on, you have to define your, it's an object visibility, object selecting filter, right? You have to define that.
But if you open up one of those files in Tekla, you can fast find out that it's just a text file, and you can sort of, you can script that thing as well if you wanted to.
Yeah, and save it, and just coming back. That can be nice. Yeah, that can be. It
has been done.
Okay, it has been done. Okay, that's cool. Good to.
But it would
know.
be If Sebastian is listening, yeah, we could do with making filters straight from the canvas in a Tekla component, please. Yeah, so
I will put it on my list as well.
yeah, good. Yeah, but like so components can be aware of its surroundings. That's what I wanted to communicate there, without having to click everything. With these stairs as well, we actually run an analysis in the background, or what we have done is we have run analysis on, so we don't have to open up a different analysis software every time we run the Tekla plugin. We have actually run hundreds of thousands of calculations for all different types of stairs. So what we do is just a big lookup table. We go, okay, this is this situation. Boom, give me all the results from that. We can then pick the correct size of lifters, support points, reinforcement, and so on and so forth. Thickness, right grade of concrete. All the stuff that we have to know. And then we can also store all of that data as UDAs in the model. So the analysis results are being stored on the object. We can, if we want to, choose to send that to the IFC file as well. So if a client wants to know, okay, what's the support, like load on the support here, we actually have that on the object already. So we don't have to make a separate document doing this for every, we don't have to elevate everything in the model and do separate documents. So that, like, you can just, it's all in the model. You can just go and have a look. So it can save a lot of time as well. And also QAing, and it's stored there forever. So if you want to look at the building's lifespan, all of that data is stored instead of in an archive with spider webs on drawings.
Yeah. Which component you are using for saving and reading Excel? Do you have experience? Which is the best one as you tested?
We are using the Lunchbox ones, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on. I feel like those are the easiest ones to work with. But you can read them. You don't need to have them. You can store the data from the Excel in the script, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can internalize the data. So you don't need to have that run in the background. So the performance of that doesn't need to be super fast.
Yeah.
Because it's only done one and then internalized. Yep.
Yeah, and you have icon of IFC here. Is just a usual standard export to IFC, like our particular stairs.
No, yeah, it's just standard stuff. But I just wanted to highlight that we can then export the all the UDAs with the analysis results to the IFC as well. Yeah. So moving on, and with the fact that we're creating all these, so if you look at the stairs like that, it's not, Tekla is not made for creating great drawings from items, sadly. It's very hard to get very good drawings. But what we can do is with the script, we can place dimension points at certain points in the model, and then we can utilize that on the drawings, so we can get perfect or better drawings out of the box with still using Tekla's native functions, but it's dimensioning to points that be placed like tiny like matchsticks in the model. So we can utilize
Can you
them.
zoom it? Can you zoom it a little bit so people can see it? Or
maybe let's see if I can. No, I can't zoom.
Okay, it's
yeah. I guess
okay. No worries.
I guess it's proprietary drawing as well. But yeah. I just wanted to highlight the idea of, yes, it could do stuff in the background other than, we can prep the model for a better drawing. So if we look at the whole thing, okay, yeah, we can model everything. That's good. We can have UDAs for everything. That's also good. And then we can model extra things to make the drawings look even better, or to automate them further.
I really like
can-
this workaround with the small dots that, yeah, actually you can hide it, but they can help you to all the dimension, all visibility, even if you afterwards have to create like manually straight lines between, but still it's much more easier if you have these points.
Yeah, like Tekla's drawing side of things. I mean, Greg is in the in the room, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But yeah, there's a lot of limitations on what you can do. Just a simple like dimension point from there to there can be like almost impossible to set up with the normal drawing settings. And if we want to automate as much as we can, yeah, then it's tricky. Yeah, and then all the templates and stuff are like dynamic driven from UDA, so we get a lot of static. So everything down here is just templates, very big templates that do a lot of stuff in the background, but the drawings look always the same, and are very detailed and easy to make. So it's pretty good. Another thing is we can get, without the user knowing, you model something and it produces a bunch of other stuff in the background under the hood. So maybe like CNC files for formwork, or for a PDF for ordering steps, terrazzo steps in this case. So you can do that, I guess, in the background without the user being aware of it. So at the same time you're getting a nice detailed 3D model, you can also get some other outputs in the background. You just open up the Tekla model folder and it's like, oh, there's some other outputs there that I didn't know about, but they just happen in the background. So for very little extra computing power.
Technically, is it a different Grasshopper script that is doing like the drawing, separate one for the CNC machines and so on, technically, or you just making it's a big one Grasshopper file?
It's the big one. Maybe not doing this thing at the bottom is not being done at the same time. That could be done later. Like optimizing placement in like forms and stuff. But lots of things are being done in the background. But obviously, if it starts to eat into the computing time, then we have to think about how we want to do it. Because you don't want to sit there and stare at the spinning wheel.
Yeah. Victor said that the predefined dimension points in the model are very, very interesting. So you are giving a really good tips. Like I see people that are aware of Grasshopper and Link, and you are just giving a good idea. So thanks for that. Even for me. So that's really good examples. Thanks, Oskar.
That's good. Good that I'm throwing some nuggets out there. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to reiterate again, I guess everything that's being done, all the data is still stored in the model. So if I right click on one of these objects and check the UDA page, it's a lot. But we can then use all these UDAs to then, when I connect the stairs, I can read from the next part to see what I need to do, or like how I connect with that part, because I get all the loads, I get what it is, so connection types, how many bolts and what have you. So that can be used in so many instances for later for reports as well. But just connecting the model together, and also for QA purposes, maybe colorizing the models and all the stuff that we previously showed.
Maybe before going to the next one, we have some question about your experience in all the awesome tools that you are showing. How much of the scripts are written in Grasshopper versus C#? Maybe you can.
Yeah, 99% is in Grasshopper. It's only the odd component within Grasshopper that are C#. Hopefully,
so this is also good. Yeah, this is a really good message. Also, that you don't have to be like C# developer and know API to make this great tools.
Yeah, for sure.
And about colors, can colors from the model be applied to the drawing? I'm not sure. Maybe we have Greg here. Have you tried, Oskar?
I haven't tried, but I assume so. You
Yeah,
can do
but
the same.
I think yeah, the same like the model and change the visibility and color. Maybe
But
not
it's not
based
a
on the class.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not a temporary thing.
Yeah,
I guess then
it's not
because
like
you have to change.
mhm.
You have to change the object color in the drawing. So I guess it's not a temporary solution. So it's not great, but it can be done.
Yeah.
And I guess with Tekla 2025, I saw that you can have any color on the drawing objects. So a full RGB spectrum.
Yeah, you can for sure change the color object and then maybe create a separate script that make a reset for every single color in in Tekla.
But you can run the same checks, but maybe you can draw some temporary lines on top of it or something. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What are we seeing right now?
Yeah, so this is a very common question I get from companies that have already invested some time into custom components. Like, oh, we have all these custom components, or I like making custom components. What are they? Are custom components better or Grasshopper better? Is it one versus the other? I'd say it is neither, because it's, in my opinion, they go hand in hand. Grasshopper can use custom components. There's no, if you don't need to script stuff, you shouldn't script stuff. If you can use custom components, use them, because it's then you're making a smaller script and more powerful anyway. If you can do the custom component computing within Tekla, it's usually faster than doing it in a script. Do you have the same experience, Chris?
Yeah, the same I think applies for Tekla native objects. If you can model Tekla native objects, so go for it. So, but sometimes you can spend maybe 2 days for modeling some crazy geometry. So maybe it's easier to make an item. I have the same feeling about like custom components. Like sometimes, like I think it's almost all the things can be done with the custom components, but sometimes it takes crazy amount of time. So it's just finding this balance. But I totally agree. If you can just solve it with the simple custom component, just go for it.
Because the great thing is here we can use and make custom components very simple, but when you make them simple, they might not rotate and align properly. But we can align, the green cone in Tekla, we can align that with Grasshopper, so we can get a good alignment of everything. And it's like, so this connection might be a problem sometimes. So like, how do we rotate that properly and these straight, whatever? Yeah, we can place them with Grasshopper, so we don't need to sit there and click all the members, but we can also rotate them according to what we want. So if you have a large model and like hundreds of connections and some different data on each one, Grasshopper is ideal together with custom components. Hopefully that makes sense.
We have question from Rance. Can you give an example of a custom component? Maybe some people are not aware what custom component is.
So if I go back, maybe I like this here, like this lifter could be a custom component, and I place it with Rhino just by inserting 2 points. But in the custom components, I can also set all the parameters of that. So I pick which one, rotation. I can pick which item should be created inside of that, and size of reinforcement. But in Rhino, I just have a line and a direction maybe, and then some parameters that I insert. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and I think like custom components are all the components that are already prepared from Tekla. On the right side, you can click application and components. So custom components are already pre-made, but you can also make your own custom components.
Yeah. So you can use from Grasshopper. You can use all the built-in components from Tekla for sure as well. So I'm just going to move on to some projects that I've been involved with. So this one was a lot of these projects like would be impossible without Grasshopper as well. So with the timelines that we're currently seeing in everything and the size of some of these mega projects, it's impossible to not use Grasshopper. So this was the Guggenheim Museum in Abu Dhabi, and we had thousands of connections and beams and sizes, and they were updated on a daily basis from new analysis, analysis results that came in from external people, because there's a massive project and we're trying to do keep everything up to date. So without Grasshopper in these scenarios, you're sort of lost.
But I'm so happy. But I'm so happy that you are showing this example as one last one, because like normally Tekla users are not working on this crazy project, and it's like this is obvious application of Grasshopper. And I'm happy that you showed at the start that okay, you can use also Grasshopper for simple wall, for simple hollow core, and of course this is like an obvious application of Grasshopper, and it's really also cool to see it. And what was your work on that one? What you been responsible for?
I'm usually just in the background helping the people that are responsible for everything. So I stay in the background with helping with the workflows and make sure that the guys can deliver what they've told. So we were working on first of all, it was like just base plate connections. There was thousands of them. Thousands of base plates, and they needed to be in the correct size and shape and form, and just to place them if you just started placing them manually, and then it would take you like a full day to place the half, and then you get an updated analysis result anyway. So it's like even before you finished, it's already out of date. So that was one thing, and then obviously we modeled the whole frame, and then we also did conceptual connections and place them everywhere as well. So, but this was a few years ago now. Usually I cannot say too much because there's always like NDAs and what have you, but I can share some generic photos. This was with a Arup in Australia, Arup, a large engineering company. In Australia, it's not so much prefabrication as Northern Europe and Europe. So we had post-tension slabs, but there's a lot of manual detailing going into getting an accurate 3D model here. So they were using Adapt as the analysis software, and we took the results and did some spaghetti wrangling. And then
is there any live link between Adapt and Rhino? I haven't heard about Adapt before.
Yes, there's a proprietary one created just for this.
Okay.
But I don't think it's Arabs. But yeah, we were able to create a 3D model from 2D design and analysis like this. So, and you've been involved in bridges before, so you know how like all these post-tensioning cables and the drape, and they're very
and of course they are different, and they are different, and they are different because of the different lengths and so on. So yeah, this is lots of work.
Impossible to model manually, I'd say. Yeah, so that was another project this is in Australia. There was a steel fabricator that I helped. These sort of exoskeleton buildings being built. You can see just the size of these things here, but I'm just going to tell you about the workflow. So we had an architect that set the center lines of all these beams, so like center line in here, center line in there, from the engineering company, which is a separate company in this case. And then I worked for the fabricator. They supplied the sketches of how the cross section should look. These are all welded plates, and this probably like a meter and a half in distance. So all of these like different colors here are different thicknesses as well, and the different thicknesses for all these plates in the cross section, and it was all like outlined in a massive Excel sheet. So again, not possible without Grasshopper to be anywhere close to doing this. Or maybe at like one time, but then as the updates come through, you get, you're just gonna not be able to keep up with all of that. So we provided like a fully detailed Tekla model pretty much, and you can see all the cutouts and all these like dimensions and thicknesses of plates changed all the time. So it was a nightmare trying to keep up with that without Grasshopper.
Have you made
And
also connections like bolts, welds, and so on, or just was modeling the steel elements?
For my obligation was just like the frames, to be honest. So all the connections were done later when this was finalized. All the connections were added later with components, but not with Grasshopper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a prime example of how things are impossible to do on a normal time schedule without Grasshopper. I just wanted to, if you're not aware where to get all of these as well, like so the Tekla Live Link, Tekla Warehouse, you go there and download the Tekla Live Link. You have the same for Structural Designer, and this component you have to download there as well. And this is made by Sebastian at Trimble in Finland. So shout out to him because he's doing a fantastic job listening to a lot of feedback from all of us, and you know, making changes and updating and adding, and so things are progressing quite nicely for us. And then also in the audience, I think, is Greg, who's very skilled developer as well. Has a great understanding of the drawing side of things. He's made this Grasshopper application, which you can make all sorts of magic on the drawings. Unfortunately, I don't have any examples I'm prepared to share in this, and probably good for time now anyway. But you can make a lot of things there. You can merge marks, you can move views, you can dimension anything, you know.
I already discussed with Greg that we are going to make separate workshop about Grasshopper application.
Yes.
So
yeah, it just needs some good examples. But yeah, just like out of the box, when you create a Tekla shop drawing, maybe cost unit drawing, the placement, you have no say as a user where Tekla places the drawing views. It's very frustrating. So just a simple script that could just place them at the same position every time could be done in Grasshopper application.
They tried with Tekla 2025 to use some AI tools to make this copy cloning and putting all the views on the correct side, but we all know how it works. In most cases, you have to do it your own logic.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment. I don't want to be in trouble. But yeah, that was the end of my presentation.
Thanks for this great presentation, Oskar. It was really insightful, lots of cool example, and I would like to also in this place make a thank you for being active on the Tekla Grasshopper forum. I've been reading all the forums, and Oskar is really active. So thanks for putting there, answering people, also helping Sebastian. So Sebastian have more time for developing tools. So maybe it's thanks to you, he's developing new tools. If you've seen
how many requests I sent to Sebastian, I'm just trying to like free up his time so he doesn't have to answer all the silly questions, so he can do development and implement all my requests.
Yeah. So what is the name of your company? Sharing Consulting?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay. Yeah, we have lots of questions. I hope that we have still 20 minutes. So let's go to the Q&A session. But just before, I would like to announce that in April, in 1 month, on the 15th, we are going to have another workshop. So I would like to invite you. If you are on my mailing list, I'm going to inform you. So we are going to talk about automating rebars drawings. So this will be a really cool one. We are going to have Joel. He's going to show his scripts how to automate drawing creation, but he will focus on the rebars. So this will be really cool workshop. And as you've seen before, we have already listed all the workshops that we are going to have in 2025. So in total, we're going to have 7 workshops. So if you are registered for this one, so I'm going to inform you about the next ones. Okay, let's go to question. There are lots of questions, so we will try to answer all of them. Let me see where to start.
I see a lot of familiar names.
Yeah. Some people that maybe you work together. Okay, let's start with that one from Dren. I have used Tekla for 6 years, mainly for modeling and drawings. Now that I have started my own company, I want to build a strong Tekla system. Should I focus first on templates and components or go straight into C# and Grasshopper? Maybe this is a really good question to you, Oskar. What was your experience when you started your own company and working as a consultant?
I think what I would do, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would start setting up my own my own environment, so to speak, having everything show up the way I want, and drawings created the way I want. So spend a bit of time on setting up Tekla the way you want. It's probably the best way before you jump into the components and Grasshopper, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Shiram, good to see you after a long time, Oskar. So yeah, you invited all your friends here.
No, I didn't. You have such a good reach.
Evan, is it possible to hire someone to set up Grasshopper for use with Tekla in precast applications? Or can we manage this ourselves without programming skills? Maybe this is like a common question for your clients, of your clients.
Yeah, I'm just. Is it possible to? No, you can definitely set it up yourself, depending on your skill set, I guess. But yeah. I don't know how to answer it. You can hire someone, or you can do it yourself, depending on your skills, for sure.
Yeah, it's like if you are new to Grasshopper, it's much easier to learn Grasshopper than sitting with programming and C#. So yeah, I can also from my side I can marketing learn Grasshopper. We are teaching their Grasshopper Tekla live link and the drawing link with Greg. So yeah, new edition is starting in May. So yeah, so you can sign up for a waiting list on the Grasshopper in tekla.com. So I will also post it so you can register for the waiting list. And we are preparing every student so they can make this crazy good tools as Oskar showed today. Gaming channel, can you please show how grid lines modeled in Tekla to get reflected in Rhino using Grasshopper? Okay, in the meantime, maybe I will take this one. Yep. For me, I will show. I have some scripts from previously. If you can see, my model is a Tekla 2025 is a standard model. So actually, you can with the you can just with the model object, you can take the grid line that you would like to take into Rhino and Grasshopper. And with the extend object, so you have all the X, Y coordinates. And in this way, you were just separating like all the attributes. So component by component, maybe I will also show the names of components with the text split. So you can retrieve all the data about the distance between axes and the labels. And at the end, you can create all the construction points. So let's go to Rhino. Let's zoom it. So you can see here is the script that placing all the columns in the cross section of the grids. But as you can imagine, you can create all the fancy stuff. So, and also it's working on the another way around. Some of my students made some scripts that are having DVG of the axis system and grid lines, and then create them with Grasshopper components. So for you, just to answering, you can also do it other way around. If you go to Tekla, we have their components which are edit, and we have grid lines, grid, and there is also new components, grid plane, which you can fill out with label, width, length, and align it. So really, so I hope it's answering your question. Okay, let's move to the next one. Mario, which component allows us to select a file from within Grasshopper component in Tekla? Which component allow us to select a file
Just
from
a file path.
Grasshopper file path. Yeah.
File path has the input in the UI that allows us to select that as well. And it can also have the smart pathing, so you can have like dot dash dash, and it selects something in the model folder, for example. So
like in Tekla, it works like in the Tekla, right, with the 3 dots.
Yeah. And then so if you have model sharing, someone else can then, instead of it looking for a script in your model in your C drive, you should probably have it in the Tekla model, so anyone else can then modify that component.
Okay. Can we use Grasshopper to add sub-assembly objects like lifting panel, props, etc. to the panel?
Yes, we can. We have full control over like what level you want to put it on, which one should be the main part, and so on.
Yeah, it's an assembly component, right?
Yeah, there's 2 different ones. You can use the cast unit for a flat assembly, and then the steel one for a sub-assembly sort of scenario.
Yeah, like these 2 ones, like if you can see, so we have assembly, so we can place like an object and the main part as a sub-assembly, the same with the cast unit here.
Yeah, and then you can run in an assembly as the, into the next one. So you have several assemblies forming one assembly. Yeah,
correct. Filters in Grasshopper. Yeah, with Greg helped me. We're able to create a script that creates selection filter for each face based on the face manager. After creating one template file in Tekla, you can use a Wombat plugin, write to text file to create the filter unit. So yeah, so we have answered under the question with the workflow. This is a maybe common one, how to import AutoCAD DVG files in the Grasshopper. So maybe I answer. So you can import that into Rhino, but there are also different Grasshopper components. Which one you are using, Human or Blanchbox? Which one you?
C#. Okay. Because then I can get access to like blocks. I think in Rhino 8 we've sort of solved this a bit better. There's some new things there where I could access things, but C# solves this a bit better in my experience, where when you're looking for blocks and things within blocks and names and insertion points, but otherwise, you can just use a read file as well, just a native one. Read file, even if it's a DWG file, it actually reads.
Yeah, just open that in Rhino. Like also I can show maybe on the side that as Oskar mentioned, we have Rhino. In Rhino 8 we have new tab called Rhino, so we can go to model, So you can query model from the layers. So for example, you can just import it into DVG. You can also, you don't even have to import that into Rhino. So you can actually specify the path when importing the blocks and objects. So really, really cool features there.
And also that drafting tab is pretty useful. The drafting and annotation tab.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of great stuff.
Don't have to use Elefront anymore, which is good.
Yeah. Especially for companies that don't like all these 30-part control plugins to install on the computers.
Yes.
Okay. Since talking about custom components, Tekla native components versus C# coded components with API, which would you recommend more?
I think it depends on the situation. It's very hard to answer generic. Like it definitely depends on the situation.
Like if you are really, if you know like Tekla API, so it will be maybe all the components should be used because like it's not the problem for you. So yeah, so this is not supposed to be an issue. Usually it's like if you're.
Yeah, but usually custom components can be something you create on the fly, and it's just a one-off in that project. There's no use of creating that in the next project, but it's used 250 times in that one project and works great. So probably more cost efficient than API.
Rens, my experience with placing custom components with Grasshopper is when they're being modeled in Tekla, they are placed upside down. It's not just changing the input order, or is it maybe something with the coordination system?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's more you have to set the direction of the cone. You know, when you get the green cone when you place a connection, you can point that to where you want. So there's some like an up direction you can set for that. Sebastian's made it very easy in the last sort of few months.
Brian just shared his thoughts about we get the very best out of Tekla performers is we combine Grasshopper script with custom components and small C# components. It's not a question of the other, but the right combination. And maybe I totally agree with that one. That is not the clear answer which is the best, but the combination of all of them gives the best results.
Yeah, Brian's a smart guy.
And Greg is also confirming that you should always pick the right tool for the job. What Oskar showed, quality assurance, visualization in the model, electrical keys. In the past, I have done something similar in C#. By the way, with Grasshopper, let me see, not comment, I would pick the easiest tool to get correct results.
Yeah, that's what I tried to explain before. Simplest way forward.
How do you handle thousands of connections? Do you have a sample of the script or maybe workflow? And how do you work with connections and how Grasshopper can help with that?
I mean, 3 connections is the same as 1,000. As long as you have your data tree under control, it's no difference placing 3 and 3,000.
So no, any tips for that? Any tricks how to make it easy?
No, I think the best trick is sometimes when you don't know what Grasshopper is expecting, just place it manually and then deconstruct the component like on the canvas and then see what input it has been given, and then you can figure it out, like reverse engineer it that way.
Marcus asked about what is open source like. Okay, you're new to programming, some old experience from programming. What is open source?
I think Greg's project is run on open source, I guess. The application.
Yeah. So basically, you can download it for free, and you have also access to the code. So it's there is a different definition what open source, especially now with the large language models, what open source means. But basically, you can download and also see the code.
Yeah.
Does anybody knows how to add relative link to an image in XML border template?
I'm not quite sure.
Maybe it's I have my truss modeled in Grasshopper. When I put 2000 my Grasshopper trusses in Tekla model, and if I want to adjust them all in one time by selecting all of them, Tekla stacks.
Yeah, I guess it's just like large operations in Tekla. That's it. That has nothing to do with Grasshopper, I don't think. It's more like when you feed in a lot of information into the Tekla API. It's not. It doesn't use multi-threading on your CPU. So
maybe separating some, making smaller Grasshopper scripts and pushing them one by one to Tekla. Maybe this will help. This is a question from Victor. Why do companies that have Tekla in-house reach out to external Tekla consultants like you? That is a really interesting question. And not to official Tekla resellers. Actually, our Tekla resellers are making consultancy?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think so. It depends on, I guess it depends on the reseller and what skill set they have in-house. I used to be a reseller. I'm no longer, but
yeah, this is I do not have answer for this question either. This is for companies are deciding to hire and to help with maybe also prices and so on. So this can be okay. We have 2 minutes left, so just one or two more questions. And yeah, we are all looking for the new updates from Sebastian. Tekla 25 was released. Have you tested already, Oskar?
I have not. I've not had time yet. I've tested Tekla 2025 without Grasshopper and just trying to figure out what's going on there first.
Yeah. For information, live link for Tekla 2025 is officially still not released. I just talked with Sebastian 2 days ago, and he said that this is because of rebar sets, that in Tekla 2025 we can select more than 2 grid lines. Guidelines. I don't know. Are you, Oskar, using rebar sets, or you are old school rebar group modeler, or you are not working with rebars at all?
I think it's more of a question, same as the question, which component type do you use? Do you use custom component? Do you use, it's the same, like rebar sets has its use case, and so do traditional rebar groups. I use both.
Yeah.
Situational.
Victor, Tekla 25 is already released officially? Yeah, I downloaded it from the official website, so without any service packs, but it's working on my computer. Okay, and Marcus was not asking about open source. If you have any recommendation of the open source while working with precasts.
Yeah, like Greg's link.
But you have to use Tekla, which is like with link that is not. So it's more generous question.
Rhino is not open source. Tekla is not open source.
I think Blender is one thing which is open source, like Blender, and they have Bonsai for IFC. So this is we should check because it's for free and it's a huge and can be used widely. So yeah, so it's growing. It's growing step by step. Is growing component for Grasshopper. And Rhino I can see, but still, still a lot of work to do. Okay, cool. We answered all of the questions. If I forgot to show your questions, so you always can reach me out on LinkedIn or through email. Again, Oskar, it was amazing presentation. I've been using Tekla and Grasshopper for more than 8 years. And even after watching this workshop, I learned a lot. So I can imagine for people that been gathering that are just want to start with Grasshopper and Tekla, it was huge inspiration. So thank you for your time spending this night with us. And yeah, hope to see more you on forum and maybe organizing other session, maybe other topic. Okay, I see that we missed Oskar, but this was everything what we have planned for today. Thanks, Evan, Hesbran. Thanks, Oskar. Great presentation, cool stuff. Good to see you. And as I said, for everyone who registered on the Learn Grasshopper, going to get the gift from Oskar for the making colors and dimensions on the walls and panels. So good luck, everyone. We see you on the next workshop in 1 month, and I will keep you updated with all Tekla news. Bye bye.